Ladies and gentlemen of the Nightmares Podcast, how are we all doing on this fine, very fabulous week? I'm your host, Zachary Smith, and today we are talking about the best goddamn time of the year, and that would be fucking Shark Week! Yeah! How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fucking great. Mark, how you doing, buddy?
I'm apparently not as good as you right now. You seem to be doing fantastic.
Yeah! Colin, how you doing?
Good.
Awesome. So yeah, we're here to talk about shark movies because I've been trying to get them to do this for, how long have we been doing this podcast? 2 years now? Yeah, 2 fucking years, and then they're finally just like, oh my god, let's do it. So, yeah.
All right.
Just so you know, we're not talking about the movie on the basic guy's shirt over there.
It's gonna get mentioned.
Of course it is gonna.
We're not going to talk about it in detail.
Not in detail.
We have done that before. We all know Jaws is the greatest shark movie ever made. That's not really a debate at this point.
It's a fact.
But of course, I mean, you can't mention shark movies without at least mentioning Jaws.
Yeah, so just so we're all clear, Jaws is the greatest shark movie of all time. We all know it. We all love it. We all want to fuck it, but still.
It takes no effort to find any information about the making of Jaws or people's opinions of Jaws, the impact of Jaws. We've even done a podcast about Jaws in the past.
The merchandise of Jaws.
Jaws is great.
Yes. So let's talk about other movies.
Yes.
That are good, but not as good. Yes.
On that note of talking about shark movies that are good, but not as good, what is the appeal of shark movies to you?
I
because
just love it.
In a way, when you think about it, it's like with sharks, it's kind of like they swim, they eat, people hunt the shark, they kill the shark, end of movie. So, and you're going to see that pattern in a few of the movies I talk about. So it's like, what can shark movies really bring to us?
It's a good question, and maybe that's why there's so many shitty ones, but I'm just such a huge shark fanatic that every time I see a shark movie, I'm just like, oh, well, fuck, I gotta watch it. And I've been doing that since late 90s, early 2000s. I don't know. Yeah, ever since Hollywood video days. I remember I just browsed this fucking horror section. It's just like, all right, what do we have? We have, ooh, Shark Attack. This looks cool. Shark Attack 2. Oh, this looks cool. Shark Attack 3. Fuck it. Let's watch this one. Deep Water. Cool. Red Water. Cool. How many titles can you put in front of water? There's a shark movie for that movie. There you go.
All right. So in a way for you, it's not it's kind of like James Bond movies. It's not the fact that it's a formula. It's what does this movie do to make the formula its own thing.
Yes.
Okay. So who wants
And then
to
also,
start?
I just like seeing sharks.
Sharks are cool.
They are. They're fucking awesome.
That's why there's a whole week devoted to them. So who wants to start? Mark, Zach, myself?
I'm just curious because I want to know what Mark picked. Let's get his shit out.
Well,
of the
I
way.
mean, all right. We already did the speech about Jaws. It's been a movie that I've been attached to since I was 8. I mean, I have that hilarious. Actually, Colin's never heard this story, so I'm going to tell it really, really quickly because it's in an older podcast. Jaws has been around in my family for a very, very long time. My nana wrote read the book back in the day by Peter Benchley, and she's loved the movie forever. Still terrified of the ocean. She loves Clearwater Beach, but she will not go into the water. But that being said, she showed it to every one of all of her grandkids, and one of the funniest situations was when my cousin Kevin was about 8. All the cousins were being babysit by my nana, and they were watching Jaws, and he didn't quite understand that Alex Kittner got eaten by the shark, so he would keep asking my nana, where did Alex go? And she didn't have the heart to tell him that he got eaten by a fucking shark, so she said, oh, Alex went home. But the problem is, like any other 8-year-old, they're going to keep asking the same fucking question every 5 minutes. And then, my nana's patience was great. My cousin Sarah's, on the other hand, wasn't that great. And finally, by about the 4th or 5th time, he was asking this question, Sarah was in front of him, and Kevin was snuggled against my nana on the couch. She turned around to him and said, "The shark ate him, Kevin, now shut up!" It's pretty much like being told that there's no fucking Santa Claus. Yeah. He was devastated. That life is harsh, and sometimes children die in horror movies. It fucking happens. But yeah, my Aunt Cindy was furious with my nana. She's like, you let them watch fucking Jaws? Are you out of your mind?
It's
like
PG.
Exactly, it's PG.
No, it's PG depending on what version of the movie, or not even version, when it was released. Because if there was a time where it was rated R, I've seen it released in rated R format, even though the movie itself didn't change, but it was released as rated R at one point. Because I went to go to the store to buy a copy for some fucking reason, and they wouldn't let me, which pissed me off.
It should absolutely be
It was
rated
R, or the person or the clerk at the register thought it was rated R.
It was rated R.
That's
I know.
I've never even heard of that.
I've
before.
seen a rated R copy before.
Never
It's just
even
like,
heard of
what?
that.
Yeah, it should absolutely be rated R. But there's a lot of great history with that. But there are some great shark movies that I've watched. That I do love. I do absolutely love Deep Blue Sea. That movie is ridiculous. But it's just a fun, ridiculous movie. Let's take sharks and turn them into geniuses. And then let's throw Samuel L. Jackson and LL Cool J into this movie just because. And then also the guy who later plays the Punisher into this.
Yeah.
The and also having some tremendous lines, and some lines that people don't even remember. Literally when he's pissing off into the ocean and everything else,
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson's like, how smart can that guy be? He's pissing into the wind. And it's just overall a fun, ridiculous movie that I love, and I think a lot of people that do see it do love it for its campiness and its cheesiness. And watching LL Cool J blow up his own kitchen because his bird was eaten was great.
You ate my bird.
You ate my bird, motherfucker. Boom. And then having literally the most shocking thing ever to happen in a movie, where Samuel L. Jackson gives an amazing speech and then gets fucking eaten by a shark. Spoilers. But overall, really, really fun, silly movie that I've always really enjoyed. And then the original Open Water, I thought was really, really good for as small as it was and as intimate as it was. I thought it was a really, really good movie. The second one's kind of ridiculous, but it does.
What about the third one?
Never seen the third one. I don't think I want to. But I think that one has a very effectiveness to it. I did watch 27 Meters Down, the first
47 Meters Down.
47 Meters Down. And and I watched it on Halloween and I laughed my ass off. And apparently the second one is funnier than the first one.
For me, the first one, it's just disappointing because there were so many good opportunities for a good film there. I'm like, this is cool. This is a great idea and an actual fear that I've actually thought of before. But no, it's just a stupid movie with stupid people. And I swear to God, this is the one thing that annoyed the shit out of me. The entire time those two girls are scared, it sounds like they're orgasming the entire fucking time.
Yeah, I did notice that. That was a little weird. And
I'm like, are you scared or having a good time? Like,
how about both?
I saw the movie, but I don't remember it.
That sounds about right for most people. It's T-minus forgotten already in one day. But yeah, that's the general gist of, and that's why I'm sitting in this chair today and not in that chair, because they're going to have a lot more to talk about than I certainly will. So I'll tell you what, since do you want to have Colin give it a run so we can get our short list out of the way and then let you guys go run?
Sounds like a good idea. Colin, shark movie, go. Try not to pick The Shallows, The Meg, or anything other basic. I'm going to challenge you.
Or Sky Sharks.
Or Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
I mean, I guess I'll actually maybe go a little different. I'll be like, it's not exactly a shark movie, but Finding Nemo, the shark in that one is pretty cool.
Hold on.
That is
He's
a very
not
acceptable answer.
wrong.
There is a sharks in
Many
Finding
sharks.
Nemo.
You got a Mako, a Great White, and a Hammerhead. All having AA meetings or whatever.
He's not wrong.
Technically.
Is that your
yeah.
pick?
I'll give you this much. At least you
Finding
didn't.
Nemo.
I was expecting you to pick Shark Tale or something like that afterwards, but I'm glad you didn't. So, all right, I'll give you
I
that
don't think
one.
there's any
Shark Tale.
sharks in Shark
Huh?
Tale.
What's wrong with Shark Tale?
It's stupid.
I only saw it once in middle school and I don't remember it. So
Yeah. Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo. Okay. There's Colin's shark movie, everyone. Finding Nemo. Not Finding Dory, Finding Nemo.
Right.
a lot of people like Finding Nemo.
I hate that movie.
I saw it once in high school. I don't remember.
I have that movie memorized line by line because my sisters fucking loved it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that just about settles Cullen and me. So now it's up to the two shark experts to go nuts. So is it the guy in the regular clothes or the guy in the 6th grade onesie that's gonna rock and roll? So
It's your show, man.
All right, so we'll start off with some good shark movies that I would love for everybody to finally check out and or watch. So of course, Jaws and Deep Blue Sea are like the two most, basic, most popular movies out there that everybody loves.
I never saw Deep Blue Sea.
You're lying.
Never saw it.
Wait, really?
never saw Deep Blue Sea?
I saw some parts of it when my brother got it on pay-per-view back in the day, but I have never, and I've of course seen the Sam Jackson clip, but I've never actually seen the full movie beginning to end. But I'm glad to hear that it's basically the shark version of Baby Genius's, Mark.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so Deep Blue Sea, well, he already talked about it. The second one is fucking god-awful, and I haven't seen the third one, but I'm not gonna lie, the trailer did look somewhat entertaining, but it was probably still god-awful. But that out of the way.
Trailer is not the movie.
It's definitely not. So, first shark movie I recommend to everybody who's interested in shark movies or into shark movies is The Reef. It's an Australian film. I think it's supposedly based off a true story. So these...
A lot of shark movies are supposedly based on true stories.
Yeah, I heard Sharknado was brilliant, but
I know that story, actually.
I'm sure you do. So yeah, The Reef takes place with it's a cast of 4 people. They go out on this boat trip to like this little island and go swim around and stuff like that. But on the way back, their boat kind of capsizes and they're stuck out in the middle of the fucking ocean. And they have a choice. They can either sit on their boat that's flipped over right now and hope to God that somebody flies over or passes by and see them. Mind you, this is an area that never gets passed by planes, boats, or anything like that, so that's kind of a shitty option. Or they could swim a few miles up and, reach this, like, kind of rocky cove area where they could sit there. People pass by that place pretty commonly, so those are their 2 options now. But still, that's about a day's trip or a several-hour trip, so you're going to be in the ocean for a very long time. So as they're making this trip, they're getting stalked by this great white shark that's following them the entire time. And one of the reasons that I like this story is because it's actually one of my biggest fears. It's like being stuck out in the middle of the ocean with a great white. That's fucking terrifying. The actors give an amazing performance, and then the shark isn't CG. It's actually, they took stock footage of a shark and masked it on top of the footage very well to make it look like the shark is actually in the water with them. It's done so beautifully, brilliantly. It's fucking awesome. It's a great story, great acting, great visuals, great everything. Probably my second favorite shark movie of all time other than Jaws, and it's a pretty close fucking second.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, when it comes to shark movies, this thing is fucking beautiful, brilliant, and just great.
He showed it to me once.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
No.
So what else you got?
The next movie I would recommend every shark movie person or shark lover to watch is 12 Days of Terror. Now, this movie is based off the 1916 shark attacks that happened off the coast of New Jersey. It was essentially a string of shark attacks, and one of the things that makes this thing so terrifying is this was still kind of in the early days. Like, people didn't know much about sharks. They didn't have half the knowledge we did about them, and movies weren't a thing. People kind of knew they existed, but at the same time, it was also like this new thing. And also, this was taking place during World War I, so when some of these attacks initially happened, some people thought it was like German subs or some shit attacking people, which is fucking ridiculous, but still. So yeah, but one of the main key things about this is actually the story that inspired Jaws, from my understanding. And another cool thing about this is there's this freshwater creek that you can actually go in today, and it's actually kind of memorialized, where this, I want to believe it's a great white shark because it's cooler, but the shark that did all these attacks is currently unconfirmed. Some people say it's a bull shark, some people say it's a great white. Again, with the lack of knowledge and how long ago it was, there's no way to really confirm it, but still, it is possible that a great white could have done it. Came and killed like 3 people, like 2 kids in this freshwater creek, and like, the movie itself is really awesome. It was done by Discovery Channel, if I remember correctly. So they did the actual movie, and then they kind of did a like mockumentary kind of style documentary, where it's like they interviewed people from that time, like dressed them up and everything, kind of did this weird thing. It's a cool idea. If you watch that movie, I recommend you watch it. I can't remember the name of the documentary, but yeah, so 12 Days of Terror, that's another one. And then after that, it's just a bunch of cheesy fucking shark movies that you just watch to get like a laugh at or something.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize, unless you've read. A lot of people that read the book will know that Jaws was originally set on the Jersey Shore, but a lot of people don't know the reason why.
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
because
reason
of the
why.
1916 shark attack.
The correct.
Yeah. So 12 Days of Terror, fully recommend that one. And if you can find the documentary that also takes place like around that, then I fully recommend that documentary as well. It's a fun time. So yeah, as for the cheesy shark movies,
On to the bad.
well, I mean, not all of them are bad. Some of them that were at least done in the early 2000s and late 90s are actually pretty good. So one that I watched recently that I remember watching as a kid a lot and renting from Blockbuster and Hollywood Video was a movie called Shark Hunter. It was the first time I was ever introduced to the Megalodon. So essentially, the beginning of this film has the weirdest, dumbest intro sequence I've ever seen. Just weirdest parents love each other a little too much, especially around their kid. It's a little fucking weird. But yeah, they go on a boat, they go on this like little overnight thing, and a Megalodon destroys the boat, but the kid miraculously fucking survives. Which makes no goddamn sense, but still, that's besides the point. So the kid, takes up a career in like marine biology and all that stuff, draws out schematics for the super cool submarine. And then, yeah, I guess the Megalodon blows up an underwater sea base, so he's sent down there to go figure out what the fuck's going on. And it's just a giant Megalodon versus a submarine and a bunch of dumb people trying to figure out what the fuck to do.
Thus moving into the tradition of Megalodon or shark versus whatever.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of those.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of those.
So yeah. Yeah, even though it's like, it's a pretty dumb, like, process or whatever, or a pretty dumb idea, but I don't know. Shark versus submarine, Megalodon versus submarine. Pretty cool, pretty fun. I recommend it. And then the other movies I'm going to recommend are the Shark Attack trilogy. The first one, you've all seen Starship Troopers, right? You know Casper Van Dien?
Hell
Yeah, he was in a shark movie.
What?
I believe it.
Yeah, first Shark Attack movie. People are feeding people to sharks, and he's kind of a marine biologist. One of his friends get fucked, so he has to go investigate it. Fun time. Shark Attack 2, do not remember it to save my goddamn life. And then Shark Attack 3, that's the movie everybody knows Megalodon from, because that was the first movie that most people were introduced to
That's
the
the
Megalodon
subtitle,
from.
isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember seeing that on the TV guide on the bottom of my screen whenever I'd be flipping through like Sci-Fi Channel or whatever, USA or TNT or whatever channel it was playing on. I think it was Sci-Fi. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was it's super ridiculous because the shark makes noises, it growls, it gulps and stuff like that. It's super hilarious. And then when because it starts off with a baby Megalodon, essentially a great fucking white is what they used. So they use that for most of the movie. Then they kill that thing. And then the mom comes down. It's this huge-ass Megalodon. And every time you see it, it's just this stock footage of, like, I'm pretty sure everybody who's watched Shark Week has seen this, the cliche, like, great white just coming out of the water and just opening and closing its jaws. They use that, mask it out, and just throw people into its fucking mouth for the effect of a Megalodon being big. It's really stupid. It's really cheesy. But it is a fun movie.
Is it as ridiculous as a shark screaming underwater?
No, it wasn't a shark screaming underwater. It was a fish screaming underwater, therefore causing chaos and just fucking a bunch of teenage girls destroying this ancient temple.
And that's a reference to the 47 Meters Down sequel for those who haven't
47
seen it.
Meters Down Uncaged, which wasn't even going to be a 47 Meters Down movie, but they had to sell the movie somehow.
I love how they do all those catchy titles and everything else. Uncaged. They the Revenge, and they're actually
Weren't
pretty
both
fucking
movies
awful.
written and directed by the same guy though?
I have no idea.
Brendan to IMDb.
Yeah. But yeah.
What else you got?
I mean,
Let's get into some bad.
Bad? Well, there's Dick Shark, even though it's not really a shark movie.
Yes, they're directed by the same guy.
Okay, cool. I know everybody loves these movies, but goddamn, do I hate the Sharknado movies. Like, they're just stupid. I don't know why I hate them so much, but they're just so stupid. It's like, I guess it's part of the problem. It's just like, how the fuck did they get the money to do that movie, but I can't get the money to do my thing?
Because it was Asylum.
Yep.
Fucking Asylum. Yeah.
You just have to start copying other movies.
But I want to be better than that, Colin.
But if you want to make the money, you need to cheat. That's what Hollywood is. It's a bunch of cheaters.
It's like that
It's a
speech.
bunch of cheaters and sex pests.
It's literally like that speech, like from Argo. It's like, oh, so you want to like come here to Hollywood and pretend to be a big shot and not actually do anything? Yeah, you're gonna fit in really well over here.
That conversation means a lot more right now than
Yeah.
people realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are essentially my favorite shark movies. So, I mean, there you go. Everything else is just kind of meh. The Shallows had some of the most beautiful water I've
The
ever
Shallows is a very pretty movie to look at.
seen. That is an understatement. Like, that movie had the most beautiful, drinkable water I've ever seen. I've never wanted to consume water so much in my life before. Like, the water was just so beautiful. I mean, Blake Lively was good too, but still, I mean, that fucking water though.
I heard that movie was like a lot of like a pretty girl, like a pretty to look at, but not much substance.
Not really. It was very disappointing.
There are some good, like, if they edit out the boring parts, you could have a very pretty entertaining short movie. But it's just, there's a lot of just dead air to me. But the most unrealistic thing about The Shallows to me is no GoPro battery lasts that long.
No great white would care about one person for that long.
You got to make a movie somehow, Zach.
The plot has to move forward. A movie has to happen, as Brandon would like to say.
I
We
guess.
go to movies for fantasy, and so this is the fantasy of one great white versus one woman stuck in a rock in the water on a beach. It's The Shallows.
I do not like that movie.
And this is the time where Zach's will to live is being slowly evaporated.
Oh, question. Did anybody see Shark Night 3D and 2D?
No, I did not.
Oh, actually, I did see that movie. I rented it from Netflix a few years back in college.
I don't rent. Wow,
I
you're really
don't
showing your age,
remember much
bro.
of it.
All I remember being excited for and then watching it, I'm like, the CGI is terrible. None of the characters are interesting. Those guys are assholes. Hey, they used a cookie cutter shark. That's different.
You know, the reason why he calls it Shark Night 3D in 2D, there was this little theater, like a couple towns over from my hometown. And when I say little theater, I mean little theater. So they did not have a 3D projector. And the literal title of the movie in release was Shark Night 3D. It wasn't Shark Night, it was Shark Night 3D. So this theater on its marquee said Shark Night 3D in 2D.
Yeah, they really.
wow.
This was back when they were really pushing hard on the 3D
Yeah.
shit.
That was what, 2011, I think?
I was still in high school, so yeah, it could have
Yeah,
been
it was like
2010 or
2011.
2011. Either way, I don't think it matters because it wasn't a good movie. It was very disappointing.
2011.
Zach, you got anything else in your short?
Put
Oh,
any
Sarah
word-
Paxton was in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But put any word in front of water. There's a shark movie for it. Deep water, red water, black water, dark water. Did I already say that?
Dark Water's a Japanese horror movie.
Well, it's also a shark movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brandon, what do you got?
Toxic water. Toxic Jaws. Jaws of the Mississippi. Ghost Shark.
I remember Ghost Shark.
That one was really stupid. Mountain Jaws, I think it was. Or Avalanche Jaws, Jaws of the Avalanche. I can't remember which one that was.
Jaws of Death.
There's that one too, but no, Jaws of fucking... There was one where fucking sharks were just in like avalanches and like mountains and shit. That one was really stupid.
Shark Avalanche?
Was that what it's called?
I don't know. I feel like that's that.
No,
Maybe.
it wouldn't...
Like, it sounds too stupid to be true, which kind of makes me think that that's what
It's
it is.
absolutely true.
Yeah.
I could see that.
That tends to be what.
Or is
what-
it Sharkalanche?
There's House Shark. I didn't actually see that one though. I only heard about that one, but I heard it was pretty funny.
What about John Belushi's Land Shark?
It's not a movie.
It's more of a series of sketches.
So maybe if you put them together, it'll be
Yeah.
feature length. Yeah.
There's Hammerhead, which is a mutated human being turned into a shark.
There's Street Sharks.
Street Sharks.
Street Sharks was a great fucking show. Yo, if you haven't seen Street Sharks, fuck those Ninja Turtles. Street Sharks was the show, man.
And a hell of a theme song. A hell of a theme song.
Well, it was the 90s. Every fucking show that came out in the 90s had one hell of a theme song that is iconic that you could relate today.
The one would hope so. That's almost always true.
Yeah. All right, Brandon, let's get into
All
this
right.
fucking deep dive of shit that we have to get into.
I don't watch a lot of shark movies, so
Clearly.
when Zach wanted to do this, I was trying to figure out what to watch. And then I just, a couple weeks ago, stumbled upon a certain movie. And I was like, this is the one I need to talk about it. But then when I started looking into the movie, I realized, oh, there are some other movies I need to talk about before I can actually talk about the movie that I want to talk about. So, let's get started. Gonna begin with, of course, Jaws, the one true classic. We've already said our thoughts about it. It's great. Not much more we can add to it. Like I said earlier, it takes no effort to find information about Jaws, about its impact, about just... It's a great movie. All right, so next I'm going to talk about the sequels real briefly. And just to make the conversation a little more interesting, I took some information from this book, Jaws Unmade, The Lost Sequels, Prequels, Remakes, and Ripoffs, which also has some good information about the development of some of the sequels.
I would just like to give a little fun fact real quick. This shot right here was the shot they used in Jaws 3D when that stupid shark was coming and just tipped its nose on the glass and everybody just was like, "Wah!"
Yeah, it wasn't a good movie, but
It was a great
we'll get to that
movie.
in a second. All right. So, of course, after Jaws, we have the sequel, Jaws 2, just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water.
It was also the worst Jaws movie, in my personal opinion, because
In your
holy
opinion.
crap, it is boring as fuck.
So, it is a very boring movie. When I was watching this past week, I even asked Zach, is this the most expensive movie where nothing happens?
Now that's the title right there. The most expensive movie where nothing happens.
It's so weird because it's like it had the budget.
had
You
the
got
budget.
all the
Well,
cast back for the most part, and it's like
Here's something interesting that I found while reading through the Jaws Unmade book, and what Jaws 2 was originally going to be sounds way more interesting. So, of course, Jaws is a huge success, so therefore, sequel.
exactly.
Then there's Brown and Zanuck, the two producers of Jaws. So they want to make a sequel. They don't know what to do. All right, they just know they want to make a sequel. To make matters harder, Peter Benchley never wrote a sequel. So there's the one novel that was adapted for Jaws.
Didn't he also pass away like before this was done?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he
Peter
passed
Benchley
away
passed
like
away
what, 10
while-
years ago?
While I was in high school. He actually passed away the day after I bought the book from a used bookstore.
Wow.
Really? Okay. I thought it was a longer. I thought it was a longer time ago because I know that. Then that means that him and Richard Zanuck passed away around the same time.
Probably.
They,
But anyway, so there's no source material for a sequel. Carl Gottlieb, the screenwriter of the first one, he either didn't want to return or was unavailable, and Steven Spielberg did not want to return to direct.
I was going to say, a lot of people did not want to return for
Yeah.
this sequel. Especially after the hell they went through on the first one.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, no, we're done.
But
some people
I'm
could-
actually going to be touching on that a little bit on a later movie.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg, let's shoot on the open ocean. Yay!
But anyway, so they contacted the uncredited screenwriter who did script punch-ups during shooting. And so he said, well, I'll do it depending on what you want to do. And they were just like, we don't know. So whatever you want to do, as long as it involves a shark. So
Pretty open-ended on that one.
this is what he came up with. Rather than a sequel, he called it a pre-sequel, because I guess the term prequel wasn't really around at the time. And the idea was to focus on Quint on the USS Indianapolis.
Cool.
Yeah.
I would have killed for that movie to have been made.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah, because Robert Shaw's character Quint mentions being on the USS Indianapolis and all that. And so the producers liked it, but it did not go forward because the head of Universal wanted a more traditional sequel, which is how we ultimately got this. Now, the script that was originally written, now there was another screenwriter and another director on this, but the director got fired before we got the... who directed this? Directed by Jeannot Schwark? I have no idea. I am so sorry for butchering your name. But there was another director before him that got fired, and the version of the script he was working on was pretty similar in structure to this, but there was an added subplot of Quint's son coming into town to collect his share of the reward money for killing the shark from the original. But that was eventually written out. That director was fired, so the producers are trying to figure out what to do. As a last-ditch effort, they go back to Spielberg. Spielberg says, I will direct Jaws 2 on 2 conditions. Number 1, you use the USS Indianapolis idea. No problem with that. But condition number 2, you have to wait till I'm done with production of Close Encounters. Well, that would mean we would need to push the Jaws 2 release by a full year. We've already got the release date locked down. We're not going to do that. So then that's how we ultimately ended up with the Jaws 2.
Wait, so they had a release date set before the movie was finished?
Yep.
That happens way more often than it should.
For real. It really does. It really does. And that's what happened to Ghostbusters. That's why a lot of the fucked up shots weren't finished and everything else, because they made a release date like right when they made the deal. They're like, it needs to be done at this time.
I mean, I understand like a deadline, but when you...
They also released it publicly, like, only halfway.
And then there
through.
was also the Joe Dante Explorers thing, but that was a more weird case than just being able to finish during a release date. But I mean, it's like you got to realize that is the nature of the business when you get to a certain budget point, because it's like you do have all the product tie-ins, you have all the advertising. It's like there are more businesses involved with movie making than just the movie making business that are dependent on hitting that deadline.
I'm assuming Spielberg obviously didn't have the clout that he has now.
Let's see. This would have been because they approached him as he was heading into Close Encounters.
Right. So that was like But Jaws was like his first big film. So had it been later, he may have been able. The studios may have worked with him. Be like, oh, if we get Spielberg, then.
Yeah, probably. We'll never know though.
Yeah,
sadly.
So that's how we ended up with the Jaws 2 that we got. My opinion, I was bored by it. Like, I was bored. I really don't have much to say about it.
And that's the problem. It was boring.
So I will put that below.
Yeah, I remember like something about the sheriff having an alcohol addiction, and like that was it. And then there was like one scene where he was like crazy paranoid that a shark was gonna come, and it turned out to be nothing, and like it was straining out his marriage, and like that was the story. And there was no like. It's kind of like. Jaws 2 is an example of why movies end when they end. Like, like because there's a pseudo happy ever after with the first Jaws, and then you get to see how fucked up and boring his life is after the fact, and it just kind of it kind of cancels out so much amazing things that he did in the first movie, and is like, oh, you're just a boring alcoholic, who now has a fucked up life because of everything that happened in the other movie. And everyone's moved on except you. And it's just kind of sad, and it's debilitating to the hero that you know and love from the first movie. And that's honestly what I remember about it. And then that's it. I don't remember anything else about the shark. I don't remember anything else about the plot. I just remember that you kind of fucked over the character of Sheriff Brody to say like he's not a hero anymore. He's just a bitter, paranoid alcoholic.
It takes a little over an hour for the movie to actually start. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a lot to get through, so let's move on.
Fair enough.
So next up, we got Jaws 3, or Jaws 3D, as it was known upon its original release.
This one is super fun.
This one was not actually directly produced by Universal. Universal, of course, released it, but there was a much smaller production company that actually handled the production of it. It was, of course, shot in 3D. And I think there were like 2 or 3 different 3D processes that they used on it. And, of course, to convert it to 2D, that creates a few visual anomalies. And I am just as bored by Jaws 3 as I am by Jaws 2. But Jaws 3 just looks like ass.
I think the movie looks hilarious.
Both in its photography and its special effects. In fact, at one point, they were going to be doing their composite shots using video rather than film out opticals. But then they abandoned that, went back to the film outs for the opticals, but they weren't moving the release date, so they had to cut a bunch of effects shots and everything. And I think there's still a handful of video composites in there. But that's also why the effects looked as terrible as they do, and also why there are still a few blank green and blue screens here and there.
I would love to see this movie in the actual 3D format.
If you have a 3D TV, you can with the Blu-ray.
No, I'd rather watch it in like the classic blue and red TV because I feel like it's going to look slightly better. I don't know how much better.
Slightly.
Like the effects will blend in slightly more, but not by much.
Brandon's not convinced at all.
Also, allegedly, when they blow up the shark at the end, which is really the only worthwhile moment in the movie, it's not even a scene, it's a moment. Allegedly, when the shark guts are flying out, they used an E.T. doll as one of the guts, but those guts are flying out so fast that
awesome.
Unless you know where it is, you're not going to point it out.
No.
That's like the potato in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. What's interesting is one of the credited screenwriters on this is Richard Matheson, who is probably one of my favorite authors. My favorite thing of his that he's done is the Nightmare at 20,000 Feet episode of The Twilight Zone. I believe he wrote the screenplay and the original short story for that.
Which is literally the action figure is directly behind you.
Yep.
That ugly ass looking thing.
He also did Stir of Echoes, I Am Legend, just so many great stories. What Dreams May Come is another one. Steel, which was later on adapted as Real Steel a few years ago. He wrote Duel, which was a Spielberg movie made for TV. Just fantastic writer. And his original draft was actually structurally similar to this, but instead of taking place at a SeaWorld type amusement park, it was a shark that basically got trapped in a lake, essentially. And he said in an interview, I came up with a really good draft and a really good script, and then stuff happened. But yeah, I'm just as bored as this as I am by 2, but it just it's just ugly to look at. So I'm using that as the tiebreaker of I'm putting that below Jaws 2. So then our 4th Jaws movie, Jaws the Revenge. Terrible movie.
No,
Fun
it's
to
not.
watch though.
It is a fantastic movie, and it is also the great.
Shut the fuck up.
This is this right here is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. Yes, it is a Christmas movie. Screw Die Hard. Mark, you're wrong.
You are a bastard for even mentioning it.
I am a bastard, but I'm a badass bastard.
And
Christmas movie. Best. Yes.
Brandon's like, give me my fucking DVD back.
That is actually where I was going to put it. So.
Oh, come on, man!
Right below Jaws, but above Jaws 2.
It is such a fun movie.
Both of you.
My reasoning being, is it a good movie? No. But am I entertained by it? Yes, I am. It is an entertaining movie, if you ask me. Not a good movie, but an entertaining one. And when it comes to me ranking movies, most entertaining for any reason reigns supreme.
So do you think the movie would have been better if they would have gone with the witch doctor idea?
So, okay, so since you brought that up, in the novelization, because like in Jaws: Revenge, the shark is actually getting revenge on the Brody family.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's called The Revenge.
Doesn't make so much sense that a wild animal is getting revenge on a family. So I've kind of seen like conflicting things here. There are some things that say that this element was in an earlier version of the script. Some sources I found said that the author of the novelization needed to make sense of the plot, and this is what he came up with. But essentially, the reason why the sharks keep finding the Brody family is back when Sheriff Brody was in New York City, he busted some voodoo priest or something like that, and a curse was put on his family, and that's why they're always attacked by sharks. As for development of the movie, there wasn't a whole lot that I could find. Apparently, Lorraine Gary, who played Brody's wife in the original and the second one, and came out of acting retirement to be in this one. Apparently, she was actually married to the head of the studio.
She was.
Yes.
It was. Damn it! I forgot his fucking name. He was a mentor.
Sid Sheinberg?
Sid Sheinberg, and that was a lot of. There was a lot of rumors back and forth about how Steven Spielberg casted her in that movie because of a political decision. Because she and him were really, really tight, and actually, he's the reason why Jaws actually happened, because he had an honest conversation with Steven. He said, when he went to go visit, he said, "Steven, can you do this? If you cannot, I promise you will not be fired. We will put you on another movie. It's all good. We will find another way to recoup our money. But if you can, I will support you." And Steven said, "I think I can do this." And she said, "Cool, let's go forward."
All right. And then, you got Michael Caine in there, who is hilarious.
I like the reason for why he did it, too.
He does a lot of paycheck movies. He was once asked, have you ever seen Jaws: The Revenge? No, but I've seen the house that it paid for, and it's marvelous.
He missed his Academy Award to film this movie.
He also took it because they were filming in Hawaii, and he wanted to go to Hawaii.
I was going to say, look, it all worked out in the end. He got a house, he got a trip to Hawaii, and he's in a great fucking movie, all right? This movie is absolutely
one of the other
awesome.
actors in there is Mario Van Peebles, who actually went on to direct a movie about the USS Indianapolis starring Nicolas Cage. I have not seen it yet.
I didn't know that was a thing, but now I do.
No,
I believe it's on Amazon Prime.
Speaking of paycheck actors.
Though he's had some good stuff recently.
Yeah.
Mandy, Colorado Space, but they're not all hits. But yeah, that was a USS Indianapolis movie. I wanted to watch it ahead of this podcast, but I just ran out of time with a lot of the other things I need to watch. All right, so that's it for the Jaws movies for now.
Okay.
He's being very, very sneaky. He's doing something. I don't know what he's doing over there, but he's doing something.
All right, so we've got some Jaws ripoffs. The first one is a movie called The Last Shark. At least the first one I'll be talking about in the string of ripoffs that I have to talk about.
Look at that artwork.
I know, right?
You should see the kills.
So, The Last Shark is Jaws. If you're gonna ask me what the plot is, it's Jaws.
No, it's not Jaws. It's trying to be Jaws, just way less effective.
It's Jaws. So the main character is actually a horror novelist named Peter Benton. Mark, do you have the camera turned to you so that we can see your face?
Yes!
Okay.
What the fuck? Wow. Dude.
And he teams up with a shark hunter played by Vic. He teams up with a shark hunter played by Vic Morrow, who plays Quint. Or might as well be Quint. Like, he dresses like Quint, he sounds like Quint.
He's Quint.
What the fuck? I cannot tell you how many times I would be going, what the fuck, while watching this movie. I have not seen it.
Yeah.
But
here's what I will say. It is a ripoff. It is not a good movie, but this is a super entertaining movie. Especially the kills. My favorite of which is the mayor who gets chomped in. Yep. You got a guy who's launched right up in the air by the water.
There's at least 3 or 4 kills where people, like, they have a hydro pump set up under the water. It's just poof.
Does it make that noise?
No, but it may as well.
You get the mayor character bitten in half while hanging from a ladder on a helicopter, which is great.
Dude, that helicopter death was so stupid. The fucking pilot's
That was my
reaction.
favorite death.
Oh my god!
Oh, hold on. I have not seen this movie, but I'm pretty sure I've seen this meme. I think I've seen a shot of that.
And
of
then
that shot.
there's also
brought
a
the shark
regatta
across.
sequence. Because, like, okay, one thing I will give to the mayor in this movie is at least he lets the shark hunter set up nets to keep the shark out of the regatta event, as opposed to just denying that there's a shark. But of course, the shark breaks through the nets and kills people and all that. But there is a regatta sequence. Remember that.
Oh wait, I think okay. This sounds familiar.
Maybe.
Okay.
I can't read your mind, so I can't say for sure if you're thinking the right movie.
Also, the shark head they use is fucking hilarious. Because every time it pops up, it just pops its head up like, hello. And then just, it lit up, hello, down, goodbye.
It's not the greatest looking mechanical shark, but it's not the worst one I'll be talking about.
It's a very entertaining looking one, at the very least.
There was at one point going to be a sequel, but I guess the mechanical shark broke down after filming this, and they weren't going to pay for repairs. So this version that I have is a $5 copy that I found on Amazon, and it's actually a DVD-R, not an actual authored DVD.
Oh, shit.
Reason behind that is Universal actually tried to block the U.S. release of this when it first came out, claiming plagiarism. But the movie was eventually released, but a month into that release, a federal judge looked at Universal's appeal and was like, yeah, this is plagiarism, and so it got pulled from theaters. From what I can tell, there was only ever one actual official DVD release of this in 2013, I think. And from what I can tell, it was an Amazon exclusive and was a limited pressing of only 500 copies.
So good luck finding that fucking thing.
So, yeah, this is probably the most common copy you'll find. It is a super entertaining movie. Like, I was never bored for a second on this.
Just remember, it's a comedy.
So my ranking is actually after Jaws, between Jaws the Revenge.
It's wrong, but still.
But hey, I'm doing my ranking, not yours here. That's the beauty of opinions. They can be different.
No, they can't.
Oh, and also Italian production.
Hey, you know what? My people know how to have fun, all right?
This is not the worst offense that we're going to be going
We're coming to you in a
over
minute.
today.
I'm going to get to you in a minute, asshole.
Get it over with.
Uh-oh, where's he going?
The next one we have Deep Blood from 1990.
The artwork looks way better than the
It's
film.
better than the movie. So Brandon, what are your thoughts on Deep Blood? The worldwide Blu-ray premiere of Joe D'Amato's Sharksploitation saga. In a career that forever raised the bar for everything from hookers, cannibals, and necrophiles to Ator, Emmanuel, and Caligula, this long unseen chum bucket from producer, director, Euro sleaze master Joe D'Amato may be his most bizarrely entertaining anomaly ever. Shot on location in Florida surf and Rome swimming pools, D'Amato combines 80s teen movie cliches and Native American mysticism with stupefying dialogue, over-the-top performances, and shark footage that I'm going to skip over that for a second. A cast of local unknowns, along with inexplicably the 60s comedy team of Charlie Brill and Mitzi McCall, star in This Last Word, an Italian sharksploitation, now scanned in 2K from the original negative for the first time. So that's my opinion on the movie. But if you're just like, hey, Brandon, wait, you just read the back. I watched this the other day. Zach saw me watching it the other day. This is the definition of nothing happens. Like, I barely remember a thing from this.
I remember the one moment where it's just like,
there's
acting.
There are really only 3 things I remember. There's a 4th I'm going to mention, but I only remember that because I read about it again in this Jaws book that I brought here today. But, so there's the opening scene. So basically, this is about, from what I can gather from other sources, a group of friends fight a Native American evil that is in the form of a killer shark.
It sounds much more entertaining than it actually is.
And it doesn't even sound entertaining.
Not beg to differ.
So, the first thing I'm going to mention is the opening scene where the wise, elderly Native American chief tells the 4 boys about their destiny to fight this evil shark.
Just all of our facial expressions are just...
And the reason why that scene is notable, so the credited director on this is Ralph Donato, all right? In truth, he only directed that one scene. This was produced by a man named Joe D'Amato. After that opening scene, Joe D'Amato took over directing. The reason why he still put the other guy's name in the credits is because D'Amato had been directing a lot of movies for his own production company, and he didn't want his company to look like a one-man show. The reason why the director didn't continue is D'Amato met Donato years earlier. He was an English dialect coach for another movie, and he wanted to get into directing, but after directing the opening scene of this, he realized directing's not for me.
You know, in life, there's things that make sense. Like an art director going into directing, or maybe an actor going into directing, or maybe a DP going into directing. An English translator really wasn't one of the careers that I thought would be a natural transition into directing.
So the other things, the best line in the movie is, and he was in the room for this when this happened. I think it was the police chief tells the mayor that his son was going shark hunting, and the mayor just goes, "My son is going shark hunting, well, I'll be damned." And I'm just like, I think he was supposed to be angry, but didn't have the acting chops to be angry.
It was the best delivered line I'd ever seen.
The one thing that I had to be reminded of by the book is the kids also try to blow up this sunken ship that they think the shark is in for no reason. And then the last thing I'm going to bring up for Deep Blood is, so we have the repeated subplot from Jaws where it's like everybody thinks they caught the shark, but in Jaws, you have Richard Dreyfuss saying the bite radius doesn't match. It's not the right shark. And then lo and behold, it's not the right shark. It's realistic. It makes sense. I understand it. It is part of a classic movie that will never be forgotten. So, in Deep Blood, how they know that they have the wrong shark.
I can't wait.
One of the kids is looking at them with the shark, and then the elderly Native American man appears behind him. And this takes place years after the opening scene. And the Native American chief tells him, "Don't believe everything you see." And then the kid turns around again, and the Native American chief is gone. So he's really talking to the spirit of him. That reminded me of something similar from another Italian production made around the same time, where in Troll 2, the little main kid is always talking to his grandfather, but his grandfather passed away. So he's not really talking to his grandfather. He's talking to the spirit of his grandfather. So it's like when somebody else walks into the room, the grandfather isn't there, all right? It reminded me just so much of that little thing from Troll 2. And I was telling Victor about that the other night. And he asked me, well, do you think they were made by the same production company? Let me check. And yes, these were made by the same, it was like Film Image, I think is the name of the production company. Either way, Joe D'Amato, who directed Deep Blood, was also a producer on Troll 2. I hated Deep Blood. That goes on the bottom. Now we're finally at the movie that I want to talk about. And things are going to get weird here.
You know what? And hold on. I got something to say before we move on. Just because I'm a Dago, I do not speak for all Dagos, and nor do I endorse all of them too. So some of them are assholes, and some of them I do not endorse. This is one of them. So
You're wise to distance yourself before the movie I bring
I was gonna say, because
The,
guess what, bitch? We ain't finished.
oh god, this is the part where I'm like, I'm glad my last name is Conway.
I'm gonna go stick with the Irishman.
It's just, yeah. No, I'm Irish. I'm Irish. My grandmother's maiden name isn't Frangelo.
So I'm going to preface this by saying this next movie is already pretty notorious in terms of shark movies.
For people who know of its
know of it.
existence.
But
I'm finally it's good to have somebody who finally has seen it other than me, because I thought I was the only asshole who's ever seen it before.
And there's a very recent event in pop culture that just adds another little weird thing about it. It's superhero related. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yes, sir? Okay. So,
Ever heard of it?
I didn't know there was a fifth one.
this
Well,
this movie is called Cruel Jaws, or as it was marketed in some territories overseas, Jaws 5. All right. I believe this was also directed by the person that did Terminator 2. Not the official Terminator 2.
I was gonna say.
You know the one
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Tell me after the podcast what that's all about, because I've never heard that
It's
story.
pretty common back in the day where it's like a lot of like European production companies would make fake sequels to popular American movies to capitalize.
Oh yeah. Okay, that.
And then there's the Cruel Jaws poster there. There's no real text on the back of this one, so I'll be leaving the slipcover off so I can actually read stuff. So what makes Cruel Jaws notorious is it was directed by a man named Bruce Mattei, also under the pseudonym William Snyder. Okay, and there are actually two versions of this movie. According to this, according to Wikipedia, there's the 93-minute U.S. release and the 96 minutes Japanese release. According to the back of this Blu-ray, there's the home video version where he's actually credited as Bruce Mattei, and that's the 93-minute version. And then there is what is known on the back of this Blu-ray, the Snyder Cut.
Is that really what it's called?
Is it
Yes.
really
Yes.
what it's called?
Because
Yes.
he went under the pseudonym William Snyder.
Oh my god.
so ladies and gentlemen,
It gets better.
hold up. This right here is the original Snyder Cut piece. Right here. Zack Snyder? Nah, your bitch ass was last. You took second place. This right here took first. Continue.
Mark, you look like you're about to pop a blood vessel.
I don't like. You ever been given information that you're like, what am I supposed to do with that information? Because I don't know what box to put it in. Like, what would you like me to do with that information, sir? That's how I feel right
So
now.
what makes this so notorious is it actually steals footage from other movies. Mostly The Last Shark and Deep Blood. The regatta sequence from The Last Shark, reused here. The sunken ship from Deep Blood, reused here, except they actually come up with a purpose for it. Where that was actually, the shark was actually like trained by the military or something, and it's living in the sunken ship as its lair.
Then
So
it was
they-
also supposed to be a tiger shark instead of a great white,
Yeah.
but they still used a great white instead of a tiger shark.
because of stock footage.
Yep.
But it's so clearly a movie that was written around stock footage. It does also use footage from Jaws and Jaws 2, but very little. I think I spotted like one shot from Jaws in this. when the girl goes out swimming, and I think they reuse one shot from the beginning of Jaws. I did not notice any footage from Jaws 2, but people say it's there.
It's Jaws 3 and 4.
There is no footage from Jaws: The Revenge.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I've seen no reports of footage from Jaws: The Revenge in this. I've seen some sources mention it uses footage from Jaws 3. I didn't notice anything. However, there is a similar thing going on in Cruel Jaws with dolphins like there was in Jaws 3. So maybe they just took a subplot. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with the footage from Jaws 3 to say whether or not they actually used footage from Jaws 3. But Jaws and Jaws 2 and Deep Blood and The Last Shark are confirmed reused footage in this. The actual original footage allegedly cost like $300,000. Let's see, I got a couple notes here to make sure I didn't forget anything. There's a shameless line in here when they're on a helicopter and somebody says you're going to need a bigger helicopter. There's also when they use the one girl's mother's holiday roast to try to catch the shark, like those two guys in Jaws. The footage looked weird. Like there's a date.
Oh, really? It looked weird. I wonder why.
But no, like there's that crappy blue filter day for night that they use at one point.
No.
But then there's like day footage where it's like everybody, like you can tell they closed down the iris so that the skies won't blow out, but they didn't actually put lights on the people, so the people are in shadow.
It's very funny.
One of the lead actors is a professional Hulk Hogan lookalike.
All right, that's information that I would like to know.
And then twice during the movie, during the actual movie, and then once during the end credits, they use the opening notes from John Williams' score from, guess which movie?
Jaws.
Star Wars.
Called it.
Like, literally, it's that those first notes before it gets to like the super famous, like it's the famous part that's before the super famous part. And but as it's about to go into that super famous part, it just goes into this other music, and it's like, I feel so cheated. My ears feel like they're owed something. Should I read the back of this?
A bunch
Abso-fucking-lutely.
of assholes.
Because this movie is very special.
Yeah, special ed.
Obviously, because it's reused shark footage, there's that. That also reminds me something about Deep Blood real quick. They did make a mechanical shark head for this, which just looks awful. It looks like it's always smiling when it's up. But then for the rest of the movie, the shark footage in this is National Geographic footage that they bought legally.
Mind you, the sharks they use in the stock footage don't always match up with the shark that's being used in the movie.
This was actually illegal use of reused footage.
Wait. Aren't those the same movies that you just...
So there's Cruel Jaws.
And then there's Deep Blood.
Deep Blood bought the National
Wait,
Geographic
can I see them
footage.
next to each other, please?
Hold on. Here's the slipcover.
Huh.
Does that help?
It's just... Wow. Okay, I thought you were talking about the same fucking movie.
Well, you wouldn't be too far off.
Jesus, man.
Because technically they kind of are. This is literally the Frankenstein of Shark movies.
Yes.
Right.
Literally.
It is a Frankenstein's monster of shark movies. All right, so to read the back. Bruno
can't wait.
Mattei's Sharksploitation Jaw Dropper, plus his extra violent
Sharksploit-
Japanese cut on Blu-ray for the first time ever in America, which actually at one point Scream Factory was going to release this as a double feature Blu-ray with, like, I think Exterminators 3000, I think it was called, but they decided not to release this because they were concerned about legal issues. He defied all laws of good taste and international copyright with Shocking Dark and Robo-War. He reset the bar for batshit crazy Italo horror with Rats, Night of Terror, and Hell of the Living Dead. And in 1995, legendary director Bruno Mattei, here as William Snyder, stunned the civilized world with this ultimate sharksploitation saga that liberally borrows characters, plot, and footage from Joe D'Amato's Deep Blood and Enzo G. Pastorelli's The Last Shark.
Did they say borrow?
Yes. And that's
Borrow
just,
being loosely used.
and that's just the tip of the very litigious fin. Filmed in South Florida with a cast of now ashamed unknowns that includes a Hulk Hogan lookalike.
Who wrote this?
Experience the epitome of outrageous thievery cinema. Actually released in some countries as Jaws 5. Now remastered, uncut, in HD for the first time ever.
This movie is glorious.
This movie was not terrible. But the fact that it actually gave a reason for the sunken ship already puts it above Deep Blood. It is also just such a Frankenstein's monster of what the hell that I just could not be bored with it. So, and just for the record, this ranking right here before Cruel Jaws, like I've been thinking about this ranking. I've not been thinking about where I'm putting this until now for the first time. And going by just entertained for any reason, it was definitely more entertaining than Jaws 3 and Jaws 2. I was more entertained by The Last Shark. So the question is, do I put Cruel Jaws above Jaws the Revenge?
Yes.
Somebody had to make the decision for me.
I'm making it for you.
We were going to be here all day otherwise. But Cruel Jaws is below Jaws the Revenge. But just know I really needed to think about it.
You
didn't.
So lift that sucker up and let's see it.
This is my ranking of the Jaws saga.
Can I see that for a minute?
You're going to do your ranking? Hey, so the one movie I set out to talk about was Cruel Jaws, but the more I researched it, I went down a rabbit hole that I'm glad is over now.
So what you got, Zach?
Meh.
So we've got Jaws, Jaws the Revenge, Jaws 3, Cruel Jaws, The
You're
Last
upside
Shark,
down, bro.
Jaws 2, Deep Blood.
Oh, no.
So our first choice and our last choice are the same.
At least you can agree on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are my shark movies. We'll talk about our shark movies. Before we wrap up here, we've got some Instagram comments.
We asked you what your favorite shark movies were, and only how many people responded? 2, 3?
We got 2.
2!
Both of them which are our friends, which is fine.
We'll take
It's
it.
fine. I mean, hey, I'm all for more discussion.
Comments are comments. We'll take it.
So yes, we posted on Instagram, what is your favorite shark movie? From Dennis at Preston_perspectives, if you want to see him and his work on Instagram. Haven't you guys already declared Sky Sharks as the best? And I told him we will be sure to ask Zach on the podcast for you.
Dennis, I'm going to stab you the next time I see you.
So threatening somebody's life is his response.
To which he says, I look forward to seeing the pause on his face when you do ask him.
God damn it! I love it how this is perfect how you just left that like second comment out of that.
But in all seriousness, I truly think my absolute favorite shark movies ever are Deep Blue Sea and Jaws 2? Question mark?
What? I don't know about that one, buddy. I can't. You're going to a dark place where I cannot follow.
I am curious to know why he
You
says
and me
Jaws
both.
2.
I got to ask him on that one.
And then from James at the HSPPA. Oh, no, here comes Sharknado! In all caps, 3 exclamation points. Zach, tell us about Sharknado.
It's a hurricane with sharks in it. It's not even a goddamn tornado. That's the stupid part. It's a fucking hurricane with sharks in it. Just launching sharks all across. Where was it? Miami in the first one? think it was Miami. They go to fucking space in like the sixth one or time travel. Fucking what's his name's in it? Ali or I don't fucking.
And it's literally the only thing that's keeping Tara Reid relevant.
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, and then one last thing before we wrap up. Shark Week is of course aligned with National Shark Day. This week, when this podcast goes up, this will be going up on Friday the 16th, I believe.
Yep.
National Shark Day. Well, if you're watching this the day that this podcast goes up, National Shark Day was 2 days ago on Wednesday the 14th. We do always have fun talking about killer shark movies, but the reality is sharks are actually just really cool animals of the sea.
They're pretty, for the most part, docile. I mean,
Yeah.
shit, they have more interest in the animals than you. And again, this is a little tip or trick I give everybody or tell everybody, at least from my years of studying sharks and stuff like that. If you're ever in the water with a shark, eye contact. They're more afraid of you than you are of them. They're not big risk takers.
Yeah.
If you're ever in the mouth of one, eyes, nose, gills. All of their senses are in their nose, and it's a very sensitive part of their body. Eyes. It's another sensitive part, but it's probably the least part that you could attack to get a result. Gills, they use that shit to breathe. That's another vital organ you could attack to, get out of their clutches. So, yeah, there's
But
a little...
for the most part, from what I understand, they'll kind of leave you alone. In fact, I
Yeah.
believe Peter Benchley even said at one point, if I actually understood how sharks behaved, I never would have written the book.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, like every other animal, they do need some protecting. There are a lot of, so do be aware that National Shark Day does want to bring awareness to sharks are just awesome creatures. It's kind of like the Tasmanian devils in Tasmania and that part of the world. Those are also, Tasmanian devils are on the verge of extinction.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, because they have the word devil in them, there's like, oh, are these bad animals? No, that's just the name.
It's just a name.
The name doesn't matter. The reputation doesn't matter. It's all animals should have some protecting. I'm actually wearing a shirt from Sea Shepherd, who I actually met them at their table at the New Jersey Horror Con when we went there. They are devoted to just protecting all sea and ocean life. They've got a very cool Instagram. They've got like 10 to 12 ships in their fleet protecting wildlife in the sea. Follow them on Instagram. And read about sharks and shark facts for National Shark Day, or 2 days after National Shark Day if you're watching this one.
I recommend looking at Shark Weeks from like just from the 90s and early 2000s, because you get a lot more good real shark documentaries. There's a few good shark documentaries and stuff these days, but for the most part it's all that bullshit. Follow the ghost shark, follow the hidden shark, follow this bullshit shark, the search for the Meg. It's fucking stupid and it's really infuriating, and I know most people hate that shit, but every now and then Shark Week has a really good shark documentary talking about some real new and cool shit about sharks. So yeah, just keep your eyes out for shit like that and avoid all the bullshit. Also, you only need to watch like the first 2 or 3 Air Jawses. After like the first 5, it's just like, okay, we've seen this a billion times now. You do it every year. We get it.
I'm sorry, Air Jaws? Is that like Air Bud?
No. It's literally just guys filming a bunch of great whites just breaching and catching seals. It's awesome, but again, after like the first 5 years of it, it's just like you're just getting closer and closer to the shark. It's cool, but Jesus Christ. It is really cool though.
Yeah. Any final thoughts from anybody?
Sharks are awesome.
Sharks are pretty cool. I wish there were more good shark movies than bad ones, but I had a fun time talking about the pile of movies I have in front of me right now.
Absolutely, and I'll say that sharks are fantastic, and actually, they're a good allegory for life. Sharks need to constantly move forward in order to survive, and to keep going in order to survive, and it's actually a good allegory for human beings. Is that the moment that we stop moving forward and developing is the moment that we die. And I think that's a good lesson to learn from sharks, is to keep moving forward and to keep going and don't stop swimming and don't stop going forward. So I've always had a soft spot in my heart for sharks from that perspective. And a lot of people say, oh, we're closer to apes. I think from a mental standpoint, we're closer to sharks. Kellen?
Well, just I can't think of the quote right now, but just the Finding Nemo. It's Like,
Don't
fish are
don't.
friends.
Oh,
Not food.
okay.
Fish your friends, not food.
Yeah.
That's your
Okay.
final thought.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were going to say a different one. Thank God.
So thank you for listening and watching our podcast today about shark movies for Shark Week. If you have a favorite shark movie or a least favorite shark movie, let us know in the comments. So that does it for us here today at the Nightmares Podcast. You can check out all of our previous episodes of the Nightmares Podcast on this YouTube channel or wherever podcasts are available. Also be sure to check us out on social media at Midwest Horror Network on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and
Slasher.
And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, if you could be so awesome to stab that like button, smash that subscribe, and click that little dingy bell to be notified every time we drop amazing content right here in MHN. And hey, if you've already smashed the subscribe button, go ahead and smash that share button. We want to get the word out. We want everyone to see this video and see Zach in his awesome shark onesie right there. I'm sure he's nice and smiling or pissed off or what his general disposition is. I know I got the camera on him. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time on the Nightmares Podcast. Take a look at Zach's awesome onesie. We'll close it out there.